Here are today's headlines. President Duterte hails the replication of the PNP's Tokhang operations against illegal drugs by U.S. authorities. The Philippines is now part of an international campaign against cybercrime. Malacanang says Filipinos are ready for a shift to a federal form of government. And the Sports Foundation aims to raise athletes who can bring home Olympic gold medals to the Philippines. Good day, I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. Police in the United States are now practicing the PNP's Tokhang method in its anti-illegal drug operations. President Rodrigo Duterte says this acknowledges the country's anti-drug efforts despite its controversy in the local scene. Here's our report.
Tingnan mo Amerika. Tinitira nila si Bato. Ngayon, sino nagatokhang? Sila.
This was President Rodrigo Duterte's remark as he acknowledged the U.S. government's recent replication of the Philippines' Tokhangyo anti-illegal drug operations or Tokhang.
They were able to capture a website. Tapos lahat ng transaksyon sa droga. Inagaw nila, dinetain nilang komunikado yung mga drug people and they operated it. So nalaman nila lahat tinutokhang.
Since the Duterte government began its anti-illegal drugs campaign in 2016, Tokhang has been the subject of global criticism, especially from the U.S. media. Duterte recounted how the U.S. criticized his declaration of national emergency as he intensified the war against illegal drugs. Now facing a similar national emergency, U.S. President Donald Trump appears to be following Duterte's methods. Duterte, meanwhile, reiterated in his mandate to protect the welfare of the Filipino people and ask for a little more patience and cooperation from the people and from all sides of Philippine politics. For its part, the Philippine National Police is pleased to learn that Trump wants to emulate the anti-drug policies of China, Singapore, and the Philippines. The PNP said this development would inspire police officers to exert more effort in pursuing the campaign against illegal drugs without sacrificing and violating human rights. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Abs Abando.
Malacanang reiterates that the 1987 Constitution allows joint explorations in the West Philippine Sea or South China Sea. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque reacted to critics who insist that joint explorations are in violation of the law. Based on a 2004 Labugal ruling, the president could enter into agreements with foreign entities for large-scale explorations as long as it follows a contract signed by the president and submitted to Congress. Roque also emphasized that joint explorations were constitutional in both disputed and undisputed areas and added that while the Philippines and China have not resolved territorial disputes, the president believes that both countries can benefit from joint exploration. Roque earlier said the palace still trusts in China's good faith and commitment not to make new artificial islands in Scarborough Shoal. The Scarborough Shoal is claimed only by the Philippines and China, while Spratlys, where China built artificial islands, are also being claimed by other nations. Close to 300 members of the Abu Sayyaf bandit group were neutralized in the last 12 months. Brigadier General Cirilito Sobejana, commander of the AFP Joint Task Force Sulu, said 97 Abu Sayyaf members were killed, including 14 ranking leaders. At least 57 were also wounded, 79 captured, and 66 surrendered. Sobejana estimated the Abu Sayyaf fighters' numbers were about less than 500. On the government side, he said 9 soldiers were killed and about 100 others wounded in fierce gun battles in various parts of Sulu. Sobejana said his troops also captured over 200 firearms of various calibers during the 12-month period. The Abu Sayyaf, which has link with Islamic terror groups in the Middle East, has been engaged in terrorist activities including kidnapping for ransom over 2 decades. The Abu Sayyaf has also been involved in bombing, assassinations, and extortion activities in the southern Philippines. For their notorious activities, the Abu Sayyaf has been tagged as a terrorist group by the United Nations and various countries. Expect to drink more locally made calamansi juice in the market as farmers are boosting the production of calamansi juice sourced from Basilan. The Department of Science and Technology announces the near completion of the calamansi processing plant in Barangay Tayran, Lantawan Town this month. DOST-ARMM has released 3 million pesos for the construction of the processing plant in Tayran. The funding includes the purchase of the needed equipment and tools in juice production as well as for the farmers' capacity building. The farmers in Tayran plan to expand their 4-hectare calamansi farm to 6 hectares to guarantee continuous production of calamansi juice. Mangkamong said the increased production of the calamansi juice would boost the income of the farmers in Barangay Tayran. With the help of joint government and private sponsors, some residents displaced by the conflict in Marawi are learning a new means of livelihood through farming. Here's our report.
More internally displaced persons of Marawi City have received training and assistance in farming with the support provided by Go Negosyo Converges through a model farm project located in Barangay Linamon, Ditsaan Ramain Town, Lanao del Sur, dubbed Pakarajan Koragunan. A harvest festival was held wherein its beneficiaries also include residents and farmers of municipalities of Ditsaan Ramain and Bubong who also received certificates of completion of the program. Promoting entrepreneurship in agriculture, the program was made possible through the partnership with Century Pacific Food Incorporated, Vita Coco, Harvest, Armed Forces of the Philippines, local governments of Lanao del Sur, Ditsaan Ramain, and Bubong. Go Negosyo's project head for Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, projects and advisor for Agri-Enterprises, Ana Margarita Hontiveros Malvar said and hoped that those techniques will really become part of their learning experience that they could utilize their own land when they go home. It can be recalled the same project was implemented in Barangay Abaga, Baloe, Lanao del Norte, wherein IDPs were also the beneficiaries. This project is also planned to be implemented in other municipalities in Lanao del Sur. Department of Agriculture Lanao del Sur meanwhile has pledged to sustain this project in Ditsaan Ramain by providing the beneficiaries with seeds and planting materials, including technical and marketing support. According to Yusop Ditukalan, one of the beneficiaries and an IDP who currently stays in Ditsaan Ramain, encouraged his fellow residents to also venture farming. Ditukalan also expressed that the project helped him forget what happened in Marawi.
Magpapasalamat ako sa Go Negosyo dahil tinulungan kami nila makalimot sa nangyari sa amin diyan sa Marawi City. Napakagandang oportunidad na tapos nakuha namin ang pinag-aralan ng trainer sa 4 na taon sa 3 buwan lang. Dahil doon, nagpapasalamat ako sa aming trainer at saka yung nag-sponsor sa kanya, Go Negosyo, dahil sa suporta nila. Ngayon, pagtapos namin harvesting, tuloy-tuloy din ang pagtatanim namin ng mga iba't ibang gulay, prutas, para na ma-improve namin ang aming buhay.
A farming project for returned residents of Marawi is also initiated through a convergence by government agencies such as Department of Agriculture, Department of Agrarian Reform, Department of Social Welfare and Development, together with United Nations World Food Program and United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization. For PNA Newsroom, Sweet Lukman, Philippine Information Agency.
Still to come, the Philippines is now part of an international campaign against cybercrime. Malacanang says Filipinos are ready for a shift to a federal form of government. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ito ang Duterte on Duty. Ulat sa ginagawa ng Presidente.
February 22, Huwebes, Iloilo City. Nakidalamhati si Pangulong Rodrigo Roa Duterte sa pamilya ni Joanna Demafelis, ang OFW na nasawi sa pang-aabuso sa kanya sa Kuwait. Nagpaabot ng Pangulo ng financial aid sa pamilya ni Joanna at may scholarship para sa mga naulilang kapatid nito. Ipapagawa ng Pangulo ang kanilang bahay at babawiin ang naisangla nilang lupa. Inilunsad ni Pangulong Duterte ang ikatlong tenda para sa mga bayani sa Western Visayas. Ang proyektong ito ng Department of Agriculture at Department of National Defense ay direktang nagpapatinda sa mga magsasaka at mangingisda ng kanilang produkto sa loob ng mga kampo. February 26, Lunes, Davao City. Ipinakita ng Pangulo ang kanyang pagiging asintado sa inaugurasyon ng bagong shooting range ng Arms Corps Shooting Center. Muling inihayag ng Pangulo ang mabuting layunin niya para sa AFP at PNP.
I wish to announce now that I want to build a strong armed forces and a strong police bago ako mag-alis sa aking opisina.
February 28, Miyerkules, Marawi City. Sa pagbubukas ng Bahay Pag-asa Phase 2, ang immediate shelter para sa mga biktima ng gyera sa Marawi, nanumbalik sa damdamin ng Pangulo ang masakit pero kailangang pagpapasya sa kasagsagan ng rebelyon ng Maute.
Masakit man sa loob ko at ako'y humihingi na sa inyo noon ng taos pusong forgiveness. Kasi alam ko na talagang aabot ito sa ganitong gulo. Kaya naman, sinabi ko sa inyo, right after the war, rehabilitation will always start immediately. Kaya kita mo yung mga sundalo ko, yun ang nakipag-away ng mga Maute pa di terorista, at sila ngayon nagpagod na maibalik ang mga tahanan ninyo.
Dumalo rin ang Chief Executive sa groundbreaking ceremony ng Christine Villas Housing Project. Proyektong pabahay ng National Housing Authority para sa mga mahigiting na sundalo at pulis. Ito ang Duterte on Duty. Abangan sa susunod na linggo ang mga gagawin ng Pangulo.
The Philippines is now included as a member of a global initiative to fight cybercrime. In response, concerned agencies have joined forces to set up a plan to stop threats of extremism and other crimes in the internet. Here's our report.
Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre thanked President Rodrigo Duterte for signing the instrument of accession and also the Senate for the country's move to join international efforts to fight cybercrime. On February 19, the Senate concurred with the accession of the Philippines, which joins 56 other countries to the Budapest Convention on Cybercrime, a global initiative to fight cybercrime. Aguirre said the accession to the convention will level the playing field in pursuing a common criminal policy aimed against cybercrimes. The Budapest Convention provides the needed mechanisms for the eradication of cybercrimes at both the domestic and international levels. The Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 designates the Department of Justice Office of Cybercrimes as the central authority for cybercrime and other cyber-related cases. Meanwhile, the Department of Foreign Affairs is planning to develop an interagency action plan with the Department of National Defense against the so-called dark net, a term often used to describe the part of cyberspace which is beyond the reach of the law, to further prevent the spread of violent extremism in the Philippines. The two state agencies conducted a workshop in a bid to develop a culture of security among internet users. With this knowledge, they could develop a comprehensive policy and program responses and interventions to address threats to national security, peace, and development. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Abs Abando.
Malacanang says one of the reasons why President Duterte was voted into office was because Filipinos are ready for a shift to a federal government. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque explained that federalism was one of the platforms of then-Mayor Duterte when he ran for office. Roque said Duterte has relied on his consultative committee to review the 1987 Constitution and prepare a new constitution to be presented to Congress for approval. Roque said the president created the CONCOM as he saw the need for one body to spearhead the several versions of the proposed federalism model. The CONCOM had voted on adopting a presidential form of federal government, which includes the creation of 12 federal states for the Philippines. The government is implementing 13 infrastructure projects worth about 1 trillion pesos to improve transportation, traffic, and flood management. Here's our report.
The National Economic and Development Authority has approved 13 infrastructure projects worth 1.02 trillion pesos that will be implemented with the support of the Japanese government. The NEDA said Japan's official development assistance will help fund 6 projects, which include Metro Manila's first-ever subway. This and 4 other projects are related to transportation, while 1 is related to flood management. Secretary Ernesto Perez said NEDA's focus on the transportation sector is part of the bigger mission to decongest Metro Manila and channel development to the regions. In view of the JICA study estimated 3.5 billion peso costs of traffic in Metro Manila, Perez said the government is implementing measures to ease traffic congestion in the megacities of the country. In a related development, the NEDA board had approved the National Transport Policy to unify and synchronize all transport-related projects. Aside from the 6 new projects that will be financed by Japan, 7 new projects will be funded with assistance from other ODA partners. These infrastructure projects include a bus rapid transit in Metro Manila, an international container port in Cebu, and a road sector in Mindanao. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Dagupan cops will be given body cameras by the second quarter of this year to prevent irregularities in the performance of their duties. Dagupan City Police Station OIC Superintendent Jendel Sulit said the body cameras will give police personnel both an unquestionable way of conducting operations. Only the patrolmen, SWAT team members, and those who will be involved in operations will wear the equipment. Meanwhile, Dagupan Mayor Belen Fernandez said traffic enforcers will also receive body cameras to avoid irregularities between them and civilians involved in traffic situations. There have been a number of incidents between traffic enforcers and motorists that became viral as these were recorded via cell phone camera and posted on social media by civilians. President Rodrigo Duterte led the groundbreaking ceremony of a housing program for policemen and soldiers in the town of Baloy, Lanao del Norte on Wednesday. The housing program under the National Housing Authority will consist of 1,000 houses in Barangay Maria Cristina. NHA GM Marcelino Escalada Jr. said each unit would cost around 950,000 pesos and would benefit policemen and soldiers in Region 10 and nearby provinces. Recipients would be paying a low amortization cost of 5,700 pesos per month for 25 years, minus a 70,000 pesos subsidy from the President. The housing units will be delivered to the beneficiaries by December next year. Meanwhile, Duterte also led the inauguration of the Bahay Pag-asa Phase 2 for displaced residents in Barangay Mipaga in Marawi City. The military-led housing project is equipped with basic community living amenities including water and electricity. Up next, thousands attend the burial of slain OFW Joanna Demafelis in Iloilo. A sports foundation aims to raise athletes who can bring home Olympic gold medals to the Philippines. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Well, in comparing 2017 with 2016, government spending increased by 11% in 2017.
Most dun sa Build program natin at saka dun sa
investment in human capital. So that's education, health, and social protection.
Thousands attended the funeral of Joanna de Mafelis, the OFW who was murdered in Kuwait, and joins her family in their prayer for justice. Here's our report.
About 3,000 sympathizers flocked to Sara, Iloilo to join the de Mafelis family in laying 29-year-old Joanna to her final resting place. A long line of at least 40 vehicles and more than 100 motorcycles joined the funeral convoy from Barangay Ferraris to the St. John the Baptist Church, where the final mass was held for Joanna. Some sympathizers wearing white shirts with the Justice for Joanna print also joined the last mass for the slain overseas Filipino worker. Haro Archbishop Angel Lagdemeo was joined by Sara Parish Priest Reverend Father Ildefonso Tagamolila and Father Ricky Gubak in celebrating the mass. Georgette, the eldest among the 9 siblings, expressed his gratitude to everyone who helped bring back the body of her sister from Kuwait to their home. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III announced that they have extended additional assistance to Joanna's family. Bello said that OWA Administrator Hans Kakdak will join the de Mafelis family should their presence be needed during the trial of Joanna's case. Joanna was found dead in the Al-Shaab district of Kuwait on February 9, a year after she had gone missing. Her death has prompted President Rodrigo Duterte to order the repatriation of thousands of migrant workers in Kuwait and ban their deployment to the Gulf state. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Security and safety preparations are in full swing for the enjoyment of visitors attending Bukidnon's annual Kaumulan Festival, or the gathering of the 7 main tribes. Colonel Roland Orquia of the 403rd Brigade said the heightened security measures would take effect despite the absence of imminent security threats. Orquia said the military would assist local police in providing security, including the deployment of troops in the Kaamulan grounds and other strategic locations. Senior Superintendent Benedicto Pintor, Bukidnon Police Provincial Director, said plainclothes officers would also be deployed in strategic areas. Pintor has called on participants to observe security protocols to be implemented on March 24 during the Kaamulan Street Dancing. Bringing or carrying of backpacks, umbrellas, and wearing dark eyeglasses and caps and hats in the center oval near the performers will be prohibited. Sports stakeholders led the launching of the Ciclab Atleta Pilipina Sports Foundation to help the country win its first Olympic gold medal. Phoenix Petroleum President and Presidential Advisor for Sports Dennis Uy stressed the need to provide athletes the necessary support as the Philippines' representative to the world. The foundation will select top-flight elite Filipino athletes who have the highest potential to win gold medals in the Olympic Games. These selected athletes will receive training equipment and facilities, coaching expertise, international competition exposure, as well as education, housing, and livelihood. Ciclab Atleta Executive Director Attorney Raymond Zorilla said the foundation aims to raise 1 billion pesos to fund its program. The Philippines has won 10 medals, 3 silvers and 7 bronzes since it started competing in the Olympic Games. Ilonggos were treated to a night of music as the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra performed in a free concert as part of their outreach tour. Here's our report.
The 75-piece repertoire of the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra was received warmly by thousands of Ilonggos who trooped to the Iloilo Convention Center for a Friday evening of music. The more than 2-hour performance mesmerized the audience with the renditions of classics such as Waves to the Danube Waltz and Leroy Anderson's Serenata. The audience found themselves humming and swaying to Broadway and Hollywood music, Philippine folk songs such as the traditional Walang Angay, and even pop culture favorites such as Despacito, VST Medley, and Baby Shark. The performance was made successful under the baton of PPO resident conductor Hermenegildo Ranera. This was part of the Cultural Center of the Philippines and the PPO's outreach tour facilitated by Ilonggo Senator Franklin Drilon and his wife Mila. Nick Lizazo, president of the CCP, said their mission is not only to bring people to the center, but to also bring the center to the people. The PPO will also have upcoming shows in Baguio on May 19, University of the Philippines Diliman on March 23 with performances also set in Davao, Legazpi, and Palawan. The PPO, which is widely regarded as one of the top music ensembles in the Asia-Pacific region, has held international performances in New York, various European cities, Tokyo, Beijing, Shanghai, and Bangkok. It has performed with the best Filipino artists such as Sergio Esmilla Jr., Aurelia Estanislao, Cecil Licad, Raul Sonico, and Lea Salonga. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Pamela Marie Geminiano.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Let's take another look at today's headlines. President Duterte hails the replication of the PNP's Tokhang operations against illegal drugs by U.S. authorities. The Philippines is now part of an international campaign against cybercrime. Malacanang says Filipinos are ready for a shift to a federal form of government. And the Sports Foundation aims to raise athletes who can bring home Olympic gold medals to the Philippines. Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and all that it is doing for the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the hottest news and the latest information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm Pia Rosas Morato. Good day.